From a meteorological standpoint, fog is just a dense suspension of water droplets in the air. But physically, it acts as an absolute sensory dampener. It scatters light rays in unpredictable directions and absorbs high-frequency sound waves, plunging anyone who enters it into a state of extreme sensory deprivation. The mist literally swallows your surroundings. When deprived of input, the human brain panics. To compensate for the void, your visual cortex struggles to fill in the blanks, often conjuring highly vivid visual and auditory hallucinations out of the white static. We usually write off these encounters as tricks of the mind. It is a comforting thought. But that psychological safety net evaporates when a supposed hallucination leaves physical evidence behind. We are going to examine 3 specific cases where the mist left a permanent mark: a crushed automotive steel bumper, anomalous GPS data from a closed suburban trail, and a stranded wooden rowboat. We are analyzing these encounters not as campfire ghost stories, but as forensic paradoxes. These are moments where pure psychological terror violently intersects with hard physics. In 2022, a driver was making a late-night trip up Highway 101 toward Eureka, California. As the local murals point out, this stretch of the northern coast is notorious for its severe, disorienting fog banks. On this rural 2-lane stretch, a sudden whiteout completely strips away your environmental references. Without a visible horizon, you lose your depth perception and your sense of speed almost instantly. Navigating at a crawl, the driver passed a solitary figure standing completely still on the shoulder, facing the road. 10 minutes and several miles later, the driver saw the exact same person, wearing the same dark clothes and holding the same posture, now standing on the left side of the road. The situation escalated when a third hooded figure appeared directly in the middle of the lane. Forced to a dead stop, the driver pulled hard to the right to escape. Suddenly, a massive kinetic force violently slammed into the rear of the car, creating a sickening crunch of metal on metal. The driver sped off, assuming a hit and run. But safely at home, an inspection of the vehicle revealed a massive, deep dent spanning the entire width of the rear bumper. There was absolutely no paint transfer from another vehicle. Seeing a duplicate figure in the mist can be written off as highway hypnosis, but the kinetic energy required to crush automotive steel without leaving a single scrape of paint means an invisible physical mass collided with that car. Our next case takes place in a quiet suburban town. Seeking a break from studying, a college student set out for an afternoon run through a highly familiar 3-mile wooded loop, navigating through an unusually dense, fake-looking haze. This graphic shows the exact layout of the trail. It is a single, continuous dirt path, entirely enclosed by dense trees, with 0 forks or diverging routes. Physically speaking, getting lost in these woods is an impossibility. Deep into the run, the runner heard a low, fluctuating moan, something akin to a human siren. Glancing back, he realized he was being shadowed by a 7-foot-tall dark mass that perfectly matched his panicked pace. But the true anomaly was captured on his wrist. His Garmin watch tracked his distance. He reached the 2.5-mile mark, where the trail should have ended, and kept running. The watch ticked past 3.1 miles while he was standing completely still, yet the trees stretched on endlessly in all directions. While a runner's internal compass can fail in a whiteout, a GPS sensor responds only to satellite coordinates. This data proves the existence of a physical extension of space, trapping the runner in a geographic loop that shouldn't exist. Finally, we move to Willapa Bay on the Washington coast. 6 years ago, 2 experienced kayakers launched into this massive tidal estuary during a severe morning whiteout. The bay is treacherous to navigate blind. It's littered with shallow channels, shifting sandbars, and sharp oyster beds that can easily trap or damage a boat without warning. Here we see an animated diagram illustrating a temperature inversion. It occurs when cold air gets trapped below warmer air, causing sound waves to refract downwards instead of dissipating. This makes the heavy splashing of wooden oars sound like they are right next to you. Through a brief break in the haze, the kayakers spotted a dark wooden rowboat. The person inside made a relentless, perfectly steady rowing rhythm that continuously matched the kayaker's speed. Deeply unsettled, the 2 men changed course multiple times, paddling frantically and blindly toward a random patch of shoreline just to escape the open water.
When they finally hit the beach, they found a set of fresh, barefoot footprints emerging from the water.
Following the trail 50 yards down the sand, they discovered the exact same dark wooden rowboat they had seen miles out in the bay, already pulled ashore. Look at the math of this encounter. It is physically impossible for a heavy, manually powered rowboat to outpace two sleek kayaks, anticipate their erratic, panicked landing coordinates, and beat them to the beach with enough time to spare for the occupant to walk away into the trees. This rowboat encounter breaks the logic of speed and linear trajectory. The evidence points to the fog acting as a localized anomaly, creating conditions where standard physical constraints were temporarily suspended. We are left with three distinct physical remnants: the dented steel of a rear bumper, the corrupted digital data of a GPS tracker, and the undeniable mass of a stranded wooden boat. We started out with the assumption that severe sensory deprivation simply forces the human brain to project its own fears onto a blank white canvas. But the physical damage tells a different story. Dense fog might act as a temporary environmental bridge, a space where impossible entities cross over, interact with the physical world, and leave their mark before the mist finally burns away.